Hello, dear students. Hope you all are doing good. Yesterday, we discussed the theme of the chapter that's Curse of the Queen. The story took place in England 3500 years ago, and it was the custom of the Egyptians to mummify the kings and their queens when they were dead. Now, as we read yesterday, that how the four Englishmen had to suffer. Now, let me start the chapter. As the coffin had slowly approached England and the Queen, had ships at Mummy sailed towards Britain in a British merchant ship. When the merchant himself watched all the terrible things happen to his companions, the purchaser quickly arranged for the sale of the artifact and went to London. Then the merchant took all the possessions of the royal coffin. When it was being unloaded, an untoward incident took place again. A heavy wooden crate crashed to the docks and killed two longshoremen. Now, within a period of 3 weeks of accepting the delivery of the evil coffin, the merchant donated it to the Royal British Museum, as several of his family members had fallen in very severely. And a minor fire incident also had taken place at his home. The sarcophagus of Queen Hatshepsut had become the talk of the town now, but the museum still had agreed to retain it for display in the famous Egyptian section. When the coffin was unloaded in the courtyard of the museum, a heavy wagon bed hit a lady and she was taken to the nearby hospital for the treatment. It all didn't stop here, as two workmen who were carrying the coffin slipped into the museum and one of them had fractured his leg. The night watchmen swore that they could hear low moans at night. Now, most of the workers over there left the job due to the fear and the anxiety. Now, many a times fire broke out at the museum and the museum staff would fall ill suddenly. Then the coffin was removed from the exhibition and the authorities took a sigh of relief. Now, they thought that the queen would not cause any more trouble to them. But ill things continued to happen to the museum employees. All the London newspapers published articles on the curse of the Egyptian queen. So one of the photographers who had taken the photo in the mummy case had somehow changed it into a terrifying face of a screaming human. The photographer was so frightened that he had shot himself in his head. At last, the museum authorities found a wealthy American collector who offered them a huge sum for the coin and the sarcophagus. Now it was shipped to New York City. The Queen went down with 1,500 other passengers to a watery tomb in the North Atlantic in the year 1912. It was April 14th. So the American collector had chosen to ship his coin on the Titanic. The company managed to store of the few recovered artifacts, which were very deep, and they were secured in a vault. Vault means a compartment or a room. And the priceless objects were placed near other vaults. So what were they containing there? Silver and gold. At last, in September year 2001, the vaults were buried under millions of tons of rubble due to the two terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. Thank you, dear kids.